All right, welcome back. Summit Point, arguably one of the best combos in iRacing. You are in for a treat if you haven't done this before. Look out, there's going to be a lot of ringers. The competition is going to be high. A lot of people who normally don't drive the Ray are going to be coming into this session to do a little bit of racing, so it is going to be a fun week. This is a fun track. Setup here is kind of important though. Boy, oh boy, it is easy to lose the back end. So we'll go through the setup here. Ride height 25 mils, not as low as it goes. There are some curbs here. They're not real nasty, but they don't necessarily play friendly, so the ride height is up just a little bit. ARB is 0. Understeer, no, no, no. We do not want that. Damper compression 20. There are some slopes here, but nothing crazy. Brake bias 57% for me. For you, it's something different. However, there is some downhill. It's not real big downhill, but there is some downhill braking. So watch out if those the back end is going to get light, and if those rear tires are locking up, you are going to be in trouble. So check out that brake bias. Spring rate, slow as they go, front and rear. Camber, you know my channel, it is asymmetrical. There's one side doing a lot more work than the other side. It is the left side. It is minus 2 degrees on the left, 1.5 on the right. Go with the higher value if you want to keep those symmetrical. Toe in 1.3. Tire temps here are getting a little high. It is turned up just to give you a little bit better braking performance and some turn in. Going up higher than this is going to get those tires getting pretty greasy, and as well some high speed corners here. A real pointy front end is not necessarily the best thing ever. Spring rates again, low as they go in the rear, 1.4 on the left, 1.2 on the right. Toe in 0.2. Again, just down a little bit, just watching those tire temps. That's the reason for that. Ride height in the rear is 35, just to keep the rake a little positive, because the ARB is turned down. Some high speed corners here, like I said, very easy to lose the back end. So the ride height is turned up just a little bit higher than usual, just to give the car some rotation. But ARB of 15 makes life a lot trickier here, so watch out for that. Damper compression 6 and 18, pretty standard. Fuel levels for me, 13 liters is going to get me to the end if you are sweating fuel. 14 liters is definitely going to get you there safely. And gear stack is tall for sure. Short is, or standard is not going to even come close. You could try taller than that, the extra tall. Um, yeah, but it's not going to pull very good. As well, some of the corners are going to be a little strange gearing. So tall is where it is at. All right, so we will go into the guide here in slow-mo. Track is 33 degrees, 35% usage as normal. There, the official iRacing calendar isn't out, so I have gone with what they've posted so far to try and get it as close as possible. So it could be a little warmer, it could be a little cooler, so just watch out for that. I think this setup will hold up if it's a little bit cooler or a little bit hotter. So it should be okay, but you may have to make a few adjustments. So coming into turn 1, full throttle, we are at the rev limit. Yeah, but it is just before getting onto the brakes. So looking for the white line here at the third cone, and I'm braking just as my rear wheels are hitting that white line in real time. In slow-mo here, it looks like I'm braking just a little bit earlier. Hard on the brakes down into second. Now you can see the track does get to turn into a bit of a downhill here. So if you are really trying to brake late, there is a very good chance you're going to lock up the rear tires, and you will see it. You will see cars sliding into that sand like crazy, especially on the first few laps. Hard on the brakes down into first, and then just following the pavement patch here. Releasing the brakes, watch out, it is easy to spin out here, it is downhill, that back end gets light. Picking up the throttle nice and early, and just gentle wheel inputs. Now, if you're defending, you want to be on the left-hand side, but to go fast, you want to get over to the right. And looking for this pavement patch, the end of the pavement patch here, just a little bit of a lift, and then about halfway between that pavement patch and this one, shifting down into third, just a little bit of brake just to get that front end loaded up and picking up the throttle nice and early. Get close up to this curb, but don't get on it. It will cost you some time. It won't wipe you out, but it will cost you some time. Unwind the wheel, hit this curb on exit. If you graze the sand with your tire, you're okay, but if you put a tire in there, you will lose a tremendous amount of speed. So watch out for that. Work your way up into the gears again. The outside line here is actually the defensive one. And when the tires are cold, probably a little lift here, but warm tires, it's full throttle. Right up against that curb, looking for this tree, getting the car mid-track, shifting down into first, hard on the brakes, very hard on the brakes. Again, this is downhill, so if you are trying to really brake late, watch out, that back end is going to get real light and loose. And getting into the camber of this corner, and then just unwinding the wheel. Not too much though, because you do have to get over to the right here, and grazing the grass here, and a little bit of a lift. So there's no real great marker, just kind of basically as you get the wheel straightened up, little bit of a lift, catch that grass to open this up a bit more, and then just start to manage the throttle as you get going onto the pavement here again. You want to run the car out, not all the way to necessarily to the curbs, but coming out wide and then pulling the car back in. Again, getting tight up against these curbs, but not actually on them. Trying to keep the car over to the right as much as possible. And then working your way up into third. Now, cold tires, probably a little bit of lift through here, but once the tires are warm, no lifting. You do not want to lift in here. This will cost you a tremendous amount of time if you lift through here. If you're fighting through here, cars are going to catch up real fast. Up against that curb, unwinding the wheel, just watch the wheel inputs. You can scrub some speed, use all that curb on exit. And this one is a very tricky one because there's not really any great markers. What I'm using is this light post. Now, it depends on your view, what your monitor situation is, or VR. When this gets to the edge of my peripheral view, that is where I'm braking. You can use this grassy patch here in the middle is a marker, but if there's a car on your right, you may not see it. As well, there's a dead patch of grass here that you could use as a marker, but again, if there's a car in front of you, you are not going to see that. So little blast of brakes, third gear, shift down into third gear, releasing those brakes, and then picking up the throttle nice and early up against that curb, but not actually on it. And you can use all of the pavement here on exit. No X for that. You can graze the gravel here again with the edge of your tire. That's not going to hurt you, but if you put your tire into that gravel, you are going to lose a boatload of time on your quali lap. You are going to ruin the lap you're on, and you're going to ruin the next lap. So watch out for that last corner. And it is a big run to the finish line, so a pass, you can get in the draft and make an overtake here, especially if the guy in front of you didn't nail that last corner. That's a 115.2. If the temp's a little lower, probably get into the 114s. If the temp's a little higher, it might be closer to 116. So I think that should be pretty competitive. Should be a fun week. Good luck out there. I'll run this out at full speed. We'll see you next time.